Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another video. If you're new to my channel, my name is Stephanie. I am a life and relationship coach. If you are a subscriber, welcome back. Thank you guys so much for all of your love and comments. If you have not subscribed, don't forget to click that subscribe button down below. I love this week's topic because so often people are in these relationships with abusers, whether it's someone who's narcissistic, sociopath, psychopath, just someone who's completely unhealthy. And they get entangled in what I like to call this hamster wheel, where the relationship goes around and around and around, and it's just going around into complete dysfunction. So I want to go over some of the things that you can be on the lookout that someone who is narcissistic would say to you to get you back. Now, before I do that, also, if you are interested in working with me, I always link everything down below of any one of my videos, whether it's private coaching, any of the online programs that I do have, courses, podcasts, all of the information regarding me is down below, and you can click those links to check out anything that you are interested in. So let's get into this week's video. Something that I think is really important to understand is when a narcissist is trying to get you back, and sometimes they quite frankly don't. If you say peace out, they're like, okay, cool. But a lot of times if you start kind of swaying away and you are really good supply, they're going to want to pull you back into the dysfunction. So we're going to, and we all know these terminologies, but this is where the hoovering really starts. This is where we're going to start with the love bombing. We're going to start with, I'm going to be the person that you really want me to be so I can kind of lure you back in. You'll trust me, let your walls down, let go of those boundaries for me, and then we can continue on with this dysfunction. So hoovering is all about showing improved behavior. So if I'm going to hoover you, that means that you weren't happy, and I know that. And so now I want to find out, what do you actually want from me to satisfy you for the moment. So as soon as I know what you really want from me and I can give that to you and I can show you, hey, look, I'm different. Look at me. Like, I'm actually the person that you really, really want. You will begin, because you already want me to change. You don't want me to be this person. You already love me. You already trust me on some levels, maybe not even fully if I've done something that I shouldn't have been doing, but you don't want to end this relationship. And I do know that. So because I know that, and because I know what you actually want from me, I'm going to be the person that you want me to be for a short period of time, and then I'm going to go right back to my old behavior. Now, depending on the victim, so depending on where you're at, so there's different levels to this. So when you start saying, you know what, I'm getting sick of this relationship, and I know I'm with someone who's narcissistic, and I'm not afraid of divorce, I'm not afraid of breaking up, because I know that chances are you're not going to change. This depends on layers. Are you that person, or are you the person that's just kind of starting out and you don't want this relationship to end whatsoever? You're really trying to keep this marriage together. You're really trying to keep this relationship going. There's different layers to where you're at with this, and that will determine what this person actually says to you. So there's a lot of verbal communication in the beginning stages of hoovering, and these are all the promises that a narcissist is going to give you. One of the first things they're going to say is, I was wrong, you were right. I was wrong, I shouldn't have behaved like that. I was wrong, I shouldn't have said that, and I really need to work on myself. You're going to see these epiphanies happen with someone who is really knee-deep in dysfunction, someone who is extremely unhealthy. Now look, could someone actually have an epiphany? Have we all made mistakes and then turn around and said, you know what, and thought about it and said, I did something wrong and I need to make this better. Like, there's stuff going on inside of me and I need to change this stuff. Yeah, of course we can have those epiphanies. But the only thing that really plays a factor in whether or not I actually mean what I say is what? Action. So action needs to follow up. Some people don't need the action, they just want to hear the words. And so by you telling me that you acknowledge this, maybe you've never acknowledged anything before, and just the fact that you're acknowledging it now, that makes me feel so good inside. That's because your standard and what you expect is very, very low. And you're kind of getting water from a rock, or you're trying to get water from a rock. So, oh my God, if the rock has a little bit of water on it, I'm just going to get so excited. So anytime that this verbal kind of confession comes, you're either going to just eat it all up, and that's perfectly fine. You admitted that you were wrong and that things are going to change, and then you just kind of let everything go. Or you're going to be a little higher up on that scale and say, okay, and now what? And you're going to want some action to actually happen. So you're going to make this narcissist really work in this hoovering phase. since there is such probably insecurity going on inside of you, just the words and the acknowledgement that the narcissist will say is enough to kind of fill that insecure void inside of you. Now, if you're not a person who's insecure or comes from lack, right? Meaning you don't fear being alone. You don't fear ending this relationship. If you know that you're not happy and this is what you want out of this relationship, your standards are extremely high now, then you don't fear walking away. And when you fear walking away, and don't get me wrong, ending a relationship, especially when you've been married for a long period of time and there are children involved and you have memories with this person, none of this stuff is easy to do by all means, but it does come a point where you have to have enough self-worth and self-value on yourself to say, I don't deserve this anymore. You have to like really want something different. You have to crave that healthy relationship. Like, I'm ready. You would have had to hit enough pain for you to walk away. So again, you could hand them like a complete guide. Okay, this is everything that I need from you. Number 1, I need this. Number 2, I need this. And they can have this, list with them constantly, and they're checking it off, and that's great. And once they actually start taking action that first time, the next part of this is consistency. Is this consistent? Is this who this person is becoming? Or is this who this person is when they know they're starting to lose you? The next kind of thing that a narcissist will say is if you're in a breakup and you have broken up, the random hi text message that you get is just a way of, I was thinking of you, or how are you doing? Or I have this one shirt of yours that I've had for 5 years and I didn't know if you wanted it back. Just like any way that the person can kind of just like knock on your door and say, hi, I'm still over here. Do you want to talk? Any kind of opening that the narcissist gets or attempts to do, if you open that door, then you're now knee deep in having to, for as much work as you've done on yourself, the minute you open that door, you're kind of starting not from scratch, but you're definitely going back a little ways. And sometimes it's harder to kind of move forward once you've taken those steps back, because again, projection. Again, I didn't want this relationship to end. I wanted this to be different. So if you still have a little of that hope or projection or sorrow or whatever for this relationship, then you're going to answer the text message. If you don't, and I'm so done that this isn't even funny, you're not going to answer the text message. It's as simple as that. And of course, the can we just be friends text message or phone call or whatever. I definitely have exes that I don't want to say that I'm friends with, meaning I talk to them on a day-to-day basis, but anyone I've ever been in a relationship with, I always would have no problem with seeing them in a restaurant years later and just going up to them and saying, hi, how are you? I would have literally no problem with doing that. I don't really have bad blood. Actually, I don't have bad blood with anyone that I was in a previous relationship with. So the can we be friends is fine in the sense that there's no bad blood. If I saw you, I could say hi to you and ask you, how are you doing? And how are your kids from this new marriage or whatever that is. That's one thing, but being actual friends where you hang out and you talk and you text, just know that that's their way of trying to get back in your life. The friends thing could also kind of be like, can we be friends with benefits? If you just got out of a relationship with this person, obviously, unless you're about to just jump into a brand new one and start being intimate right away, there's going to be a period where intimacy is gone from your life, where there's not going to be any snuggling, there's not going to be the dates or, that with someone that you're comfortable with, where you can just be you. So perhaps the narcissist knows that, and that's something that they kind of play off to kind of lure you back in. Like, hey, that was Annie. Everyone needs a snuggle. We could just hang out and watch a movie together and or we could be intimate and we just do that and then we leave. And again, that kind of just gives some blurred lines. And especially if you've been in love with this person, doing any of those things, going from doing it, being in a relationship, to a breakup, to then trying to do it again just casually, I don't know anyone that can do it. Because you really would have to completely detach. And at that point, why do you even want to do it with that person if that's not even someone that you're even interested in anymore? And the further you kind of get away from that person, the more and more you don't want to be intimate with that person or have those moments with that person ever again. I think one of the worst things that someone can say to try to get you back, someone that's narcissistic, someone that's unhealthy, is I made a mistake. Where they have these huge epiphanies and they realized that they made a mistake, that you are the love of their life, or you are the person that they want to be with. I just feel like, yes, we can all make mistakes, but I do feel like relationships they're in your life for a certain reason, and you're supposed to learn a certain lesson, and then the relationship is supposed to end. It's not saying that some relationships you can't go through this turmoil and then like learn and come back together with years of therapy and working on it. Yes, you absolutely can, but all of that takes a lot of work. It takes work on the partner that decided to leave and jump ship, and it takes work with yourself as well, because now you have to build trust within this person. You have to have trust again in this relationship, and the person has to do the same, right? So they're not going to jump back into the relationship that they had. They're going to jump back into something completely different. So obviously it can work. I do think with someone who's narcissistic, which is what we were talking about, chances are it's not working. You know what I mean? Like, so for them to come and have these huge epiphanies, really what they're saying is, hey, I have no one else and you're as good as it's getting right now, and so let's do this. You know, that's basically the underlying message. So those are kind of the common things that any narcissist will say to try to lure you back in. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to also hit subscribe, and I will see you next week.